Part 2. The Sea Cook. Chapter 8. At the Sign of the Spyglass. When I had done breakfasting, the squire gave me a note addressed to John Silver, at the sign of the spyglass, and told me I should easily find the place by following the line of the docks and keeping a bright lookout for a little tavern with a large brass telescope for a sign. I set off, overjoyed at this opportunity to see some more of the ships and seamen, and picking my way among a great crowd of people and carts in the bales, for the dock was now at its busiest, till I found the tavern in question. It was a bright enough little place of entertainment. The sign was newly painted. The windows had neat red curtains. The floor was cleanly sanded. There was a street on each side and an open door on both, which made the large, low room pretty clear to see in spite of the clouds of tobacco smoke. The customers were mostly seafaring men, and they talked so loudly that I hung at the door, almost afraid to enter. As I waited, a man came out of a side room, and at a glance I was sure he must be Long John. His left leg was cut off close by the hip, and under his left shoulder he carried a crutch, which he managed with wondrous dexterity. Hopping about upon it like a bird, he was very tall and strong, with a face as big as a ham, plain and pale, but intelligent and smiling. Indeed, he seemed like the most cheerful spirits, whistling as he moved about among the tables, with a merry word or a slap on the shoulder for the most favorite of his guests. Now, to tell you the truth, from the very first moment of Long John was mentioned in Squire Trelawney's letter, I had taken a fear in my mind that he might prove to be the very one-legged sailor whom I had watched for so long at the old Admiral Benbow. But one look at the old man before me was enough. I had seen the captain, and Black Dog, and the blind man Pew, and I thought I knew what a buccaneer was like, a very different creature, according to me, from this clean and pleasant-tempered landlord. I plucked up the courage at once, crossed the threshold, and walked right up to the man where he stood, propped on a crutch, talking to a customer. "Mr. Silver, sir?" I asked, holding out the note. "Yes, my lad," said he. "Such is my name, to be sure, and who may you be?" And then he saw the squire's letter. He seemed to me to give something almost like a start. "Oh," he said quite loud, and offered his hand. I see. You are our new cabin boy. Pleased I am to see you." And he took my hand in his large, firm grasp. Just then, one of the customers at the far side rose suddenly and made for the door. It was close by him, and he was out on the street in a moment, but his hurry had attracted my notice, and I recognized him at once. It was the tallow-faced man, wanting 2 fingers, who had come first to the Admiral Benbow. "Oh," I cried, "stop him! It's Black Dog!" "I don't care 2 coppers who he is," cried Silver, "but he hasn't paid his score. Harry, run and catch him." One of the others who was nearest the door leaped up and started in pursuit. "If he were Admiral Hawke, he shall pay his score," cried Silver. And then, relinquishing my hand, "Who did you say he was?" he asked. "Black what?" "Dog, sir," said I. "Has Mr. Trelawney not told you of the buccaneers? He was one of them." "So?" cried Silver. "In my house? Ben, run and help Harry. One of these squabs, was he drinking with him? Morgan, step up here." The man whom he called Morgan, an old, gray-haired, mahogany-faced sailor, came forward pretty sheepishly, rolling his quid. "Now, Morgan," said Long John very sternly, "you never clapped your eyes on that black dog before, did you now?" "Not I, sir," said Morgan with a salute. "You didn't know his name, did you?" "No, sir." "By the powers, Tom Morgan, it's as good for you," exclaimed the landlord. "If you had been mixed up with the like of that, you would never have put another foot in my house. You may lay to that. And what was he saying to you?" "I don't right know, sir," answered Morgan. "Do you call that a head on your shoulders or a blessed dead eye?" cried Long John. "Don't rightly know, do you? Perhaps you don't happen to rightly know who you was speaking to, perhaps. Come now, what was he, John? Voyages, captains, ships, pipe up. What was it?" "We was talking keel hauling," answered Morgan. "Keel hauling, was he? Ah, you might. A mighty suitable thing, too. And you may lay like that. Go back to your place for a lubber, Tom. And then, as Morgan rolled back to his seat, Silver added to me in a confident whisper that was very flattering as I thought. He's quite an honest man, Tom Morgan, only stupid. And now, he added on again aloud. Let's see, Black Dog? No, I don't know that name. Not I. Yet I kind of think of, I've seen this one. He used to come here with a blind beggar he used. That he did, you may be sure, said I. I knew the blind man too. His name was Pew. It was, cried Silver, now quite excited. Pew, that was his name for certain. Ah, he looked a shark, he did. If we run down that Black Dog now, there'll be news for Captain Trelawney. Ben's a good runner. Few seamen run better than Ben. He should run him down, hand over hand, by the powers. He take a keel hauling, did he? I'll keel haul him. All the time he was jerking out the phrases, he was stumping up and down the tavern on his crutch, slapping the table with his hand, and giving such a show of excitement as we would have convinced an Old Bailey judge or Bow Street runner. My suspicions had been thoroughly reawakened on finding Black Dog at the spyglass, and as I watched the cook narrowly, he was too deep, too ready, and too clever for me. By the time the two men came back out of breath and confessed that they had lost track in the crowd and had been scolded like thieves, I would have gone bail for the innocent Long John Silver. See here now, Hawkins, said he. He's a blessed hard thing on a man like me, now ain't it? There's Captain Trelawney. What's he to think? Here I have this confounded son of a Dutchman sitting in my own drinking house, drinking my own rum. Here you come and tell me of this plan. And here I let him give us all the slip before my blessed deadlights. Now, Hawkins, you do me a justice with the captain. You're a lad, you are. But you're as smart as paint. I see that when you first come in. Now, here it is. What can I do with this old timber I hobble on? When I was an A.B. master mariner, I'd have come up alongside him, handed him over, and broached him in a brace of old shackles, I would. But now... And then all of a sudden he stopped, and his jaw dropped as though he had remembered something. The score, he burst out. 3 goes of rum. Why, shiver me timbers if I hadn't forgotten my score. And falling on the bench, he laughed until the tears run down his cheeks. I could not help joining, and we were laughing together, peal after peal, until the tavern rang again. Why, what a precious old sea calf I am, said he at last, wiping his cheeks. You and me should get on well, Hawkins. I'll take my Davy. I should be ship's rated boy. But come now, stand by to go about. That won't do. Duty is duty, mates. I'll put on my old cockerel hat, step along to you, to Captain Trelawney, and report this here affair. For, mind you, it's serious, young Hawkins, and neither you nor me's coming out of it with what I should make it so bold as to call credit. Nor you neither shall you. Not smart. None of us, pair of us, is smart. But dash my buttons, there was a good un about my score. And he begun to laugh again, and that so heartily that, though I did not see the joke as he did, I was again obliged to join him in his mirth. On our little walk up along the quays, he made himself the most interesting companion, telling me about the different ships that were passing by their rig, tonnage, nationality, explaining the work that was going forward. Here was one discharging, another taking on cargo, and a third making ready for sea, and every now and then telling me some little anecdote of ships or seamen, or repeating a nautical phrase till I had learned it perfectly. I began to see that here was one of the best of possible shipmates. When we had got to the inn, the squire and Dr. Livesey were seated together, finishing a quart of ale with a toast in it, before they should go aboard the schooner on a visit of inspection. Long John told the story from first to last, with a great deal of spirit and the most perfect truth. That was how it was now, weren't it, Jim Hawkins? He would say, now and again, and I could always bear him entirely out. The two gentlemen regretted that Black Dog had got away, but we were all agreed there was nothing to be done, and after he had been complimented, Long John took up his crutch and departed. All hands aboard by 4 this afternoon, shouted the squire after him. Aye, aye, sir, cried the cook in the passage. Well, squire, said Dr. Livesey, I don't put much faith in your discoveries as a gentleman, but I will say, this Long John Silver suits me. The man's a perfect trump, declared the squire. And now, added the doctor, Jim may come aboard with us, may he not? To be sure he may, said the squire. Take your hat, Hawkins, and we'll see the ship.